As humans, we're hardwired for attachment. And as humans who have a little primal part of our brain with memory systems that helps guide our development across the course of our life, those attachment patterns are often tied all the way back into our childhood. We like to have consistency in what we know. And unfortunately, when we grow up with complicated childhoods or difficult experiences around us, the patterns that our brain encodes, specifically our amygdala, tend to be tied into what we are familiar with, which means that as adults, sometimes we choose less than preferable playmates to play on our playground that is our life with us. I'd like to explore a little exercise with you that I invite my patients to do when they're looking at making positive long-term and sustainable behavior change. Because we're hardwired for attachment, having healthy humans around us is critical. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to do a complete cleansing of all of the people in our life. And it's really critical to understand where relationships fall in their meaningfulness to our ability to design the life we want to be living. Have you ever heard of trauma bonding? Yes, we almost all do it if we've had trauma. That's where we move into relationship with somebody whose patterns remind us of our trauma. That means their patterns are familiar. But just like trauma is harmful and at times dangerous, trauma bonding can be at times harmful and dangerous. So this is a really simple exercise to step back and take stock of the relationships in your life. The first step is to draw a circle with 10 different tiers. Each tier represents a level of closeness and relationship that somebody is in regards to your vulnerability and your authentic sense of self. This first step is where we're just doing an authentic assessment of our playground and our playmates. We're not changing anything quite yet. At ground zero, so zero, the core of this circle are your closest confidants, the people that you talk to most frequently, the text messages that come through, those that you reach out to when you're having a hard time, or for some of us, those who bombard us and reach into our world on a regular basis, even though we may not be reaching out to them. That's a key part of trauma bonding called fawning, people pleasing. Tier two, well, one and two, are those people who are a little further out, but still very near and dear, and so on and so forth, all the way up to tier 10. This first step is just taking stock of where are the people in your life on these tiers. Now, some of us may have 20, 30 people. Some of us may have 5. It's all okay. It's just doing a really honest assessment of where are the people in your life in terms of your ongoing communication, engagement, and depth of vulnerability and safety with them. Once you have your tiers, I'd like to invite you to do a grading system. I know this could sound a little cold, but just take a moment and do a grading system of a -10 to a +10. And looking at that full spectrum, when you're talking to this person, how do you feel? A +10 is you feel filled up. Your cup is overflowing. You feel motivated and inspired and engaged. A -10 means you get off the phone with that person and you feel exhausted and drained, pessimistic. These might be the people, once you get into that 0 to -10 space, where you find yourself reaching for those coping skills you'd rather not be using. We all have everybody on these gradients, but really critical here is to notice in your 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spheres of that circle, how many of those people are filling you up? And how many of those people are draining you? If there's a lot more draining than being filled up going on, that's huge data. It's time to start looking at creating a different ecosystem for your social sphere, changing your relationship with your playmates. The next step is to do the same thing. It's 10 circles with your ground 0. And now look at the old circle and notice who fills you up. Where are they on that old circle? And where would you like them to be? And create the new circle. This is going to be your action plan for changing your relationships in your life so that you surround yourself with the people who fill you up. And trust me, those who fill us up usually are filled up by us as well. You might be surprised to notice that some of those old people who were core in your circle, who are also draining, well, they might be feeding into your amygdala's comfort zone rather than your new way of being that you're wanting to develop. So as you're looking towards successful behavior change, make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who fill you up in a healthy, positive way, not those who encourage you to reach for the old playground and the old toys. Let's create a new way of being, and this is a wonderful way to start. In the next video, we'll be diving a little bit more deeply into this, as well as we'll have a guided meditation that will support you in shifting and identifying more fully who fills you up, who drains you, and where would you like to make positive change in your relationships. If these videos are helpful for you, please give us a thumbs up, comment, or do subscribe to us. And I look forward to seeing you soon.